Hey everyone,
Hello.
welcome to today's weekly Untitled live stream. Today you have me, Ja, with Michiel.
Back in the studio
Mike.
this time.
Indeed. Where
Not
have you
from my
been?
hotel anymore.
Where have you been for those who missed it?
Yeah, so
last
if you
week?
missed it last week, I traveled to Slovenia last week to our friends from EK Water Blocks. If you're into custom liquid cooling, I'm sure you're familiar with them. We're supposed to do a live stream with them as well last week, but unfortunately, due to COVID-related circumstances, we could not continue with that. Yeah. So then Peter and Ja did Halo last week, and we'll still try to see what we can make happen still in the coming months. If we can still do something together with EK in terms of a live stream. So we are definitely looking at the possibilities. So hopefully we can still do something, maybe on a distance. So instead. I think they're cleaning the windows in the office, so if you hear something, it's probably that. Our apologies for that. But yeah, about EK we try to arrange something still. But at least for today we have a very cool topic, right, Ja?
Yes, indeed. What are we doing here today? We're here to, well, right now he's underneath the table, but we will show you our second ever 4K gaming monitor, which has vastly improved from its predecessors. It feels like they're right behind me, like knocking on the walls and shit. You guys can hear that, right?
Behind Ja there is a green screen, and behind the green screen there are windows, and I think those windows are currently being cleaned.
Yeah.
Good timing, exactly now.
But like I said, I will unbox the new gaming monitor. I will show you what it's all about, and of course demonstrate all of its features, and also show you guys just how insanely sharp it actually is compared to, let's say a traditional 1080p gaming monitor in the same range when it comes to the size. And of course we will then close the live stream with gaming demonstrations to show you guys what kind of 4K performance you can expect.
Which games?
Today we have Far Cry 6 and also Formula 1, so kind of from both worlds a game, from the competitive and a bit of an esports world, and also from the AAA title games, of course. And Far Cry 6 is also today's giveaway. Well, one of the, because we have multiple codes to give away. So if you want to participate and you would like to have the game, just go to amsite.com/2/insider, and there perform as many actions as you want. And the more you do, the more chances you have at winning one of the today's game codes. And if that link doesn't work for you, just join the chat, because if you're watching on, because we're streaming actually on like Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, we recommend you to watch the stream on our Twitch channel or our YouTube channel, and there you can also join the chat, because we are also reading the chat. Hi Troy, you're here every week, so appreciate it. But there you will also have the direct link to the giveaway, which are bot kind of like repeat every 6 minutes or so. So yeah, good luck. There are multiple chances to win the game today. So if you have already participated, you're still in the drawing pool for the entire live stream, so you don't have to redo it every time I announce a winner. Yeah guys, good luck, and let's hope to have a lot of fun today once again with me and Michiel or Mike.
Troy says, Eric, stop making sounds. I think this is what it sounds like when Eric tries to park his car.
That's really bad news for his Tesla. Okay guys, so before we get into all the goodies, of course it's December, right? It's this first day of December today, and of course
almost
December
Christmas.
is all about Christmas. And for this, the Christmas spirit, we also have, since today, launched a new Christmas promotion. If you're interested, you can check it out. I can show you right here what it's about. So if you just simply go to our website, if you go to Amazon, then let me show you here. If you go to then what's new, promotions, here you see the first thing.
I cannot see your screen, I think.
Oh, I think we just have to reconnect them. sort of. Wait, why is it not reacting? Let me try
Still see the same? Ah, that worked. We already saw all the spec spoilers.
Let's hope you guys didn't see it, because that's the topic for a little bit later. Now let's do it again. If you go to our website and then go to what's new, on the promotions you'll find that the first thing you see is the Christmas campaign. And there you first of all have to choose where you're from. So let's say for the sake of just showing you guys what it's about, I'm gonna go for UK, since then you can read what's on the page. Here you'll see what kind of promotions are running at the moment. So if you are planning on any purchase anytime soon, definitely check it out, because there might be something for you in there, and you can get some gifts or get some presents and stuff like that. And you can also see what kind of products are participating in this campaign, and what you have to do in order to get some gifts and stuff like that. So if you're interested, just go to our webpage and check it out.
And next week, definitely more about Christmas, but we'll give you more details later in the stream.
We're already spoiling next week, huh?
And just making sure our Christmas fans are here next week.
Okay, so like I said, guys, if you want to have a chat with us, definitely join our Twitch and YouTube channel, and then just drop the stuff in the chat, questions, feedback that you have regarding the products, regarding us, or anything. We already saw somebody asking, how to be a staff at MSI. I already had the privilege, like more than 3 years ago, to join MSI. So, just take a look at the website. You definitely have to be a gaming fan in order to have a chance. But,
you have to be a nerd and a gamer.
Yeah.
If you're both of those, then you have a chance. You can definitely.
Good luck. So I have the monitor right here. I'm not gonna put the entire box on the table, so I'm just gonna try to take it out.
Ja always has the big boxes.
Oh, I see I dropped some cables in here and some screws that I'll definitely need for later.
Don't lose them.
All right. So let me take out all the essentials. Of course, I'm gonna need the power adapter. Quick start guide. Not gonna need it. It's already in here.
Always read the manual.
USB cable. USB Type-C cable. I'm gonna need that. And all right, that's about it for the cables. Furthermore, let's take out the parts as well. And then it's really white, very shiny.
It is. I can dim the light a little bit. Is this better? Still very bright. You can do this.
That's already a lot of difference.
Yeah, this is better. Hello, Hussein. Welcome, welcome.
Let me clear the table a little bit. And unpack very slowly.
Hello, 10 and VRK. Welcome to the stream.
Whoop.
Ooh, I see some peeling.
Yes. Look at that protective foil. My hand is getting itchy. So we have a monitor here. And of course, we're gonna need this as well. Surprise, surprise. One last part. So 1 + 1 is 2, right? You guys already know what's gonna happen. connect these two. That's the first part.
Are you sure? Maybe check the manual.
You know, when in doubt, always take a look at the quick start. A little thumb screw right here, so you don't need any tools yet. All right, pretty firm. Next, you're gonna need to, of course, install this block against the monitor right here. So just before you guys start asking about this, because we always get this question, yes, indeed, it is VESA compatible. So this is the standard 10 by 10 centimeters VESA format.
So also,
so
if you
don't
for
want
example, want to hang it to the wall or something, you can just use your regular 100 by 100 VESA mount.
So now we just have to
hang it in there. Nilesworth is asking on Twitch, what's the best monitor for both productivity and gaming? I would say the one you're seeing now comes pretty close.
Yeah, and actually if you are very interested in, because if you need a little bit more of a monitor that's better than this one in the content creation section, you can check out our MPG321URF QD, which is the quantum dot version. With that one, you will have the most realistic color reproduction due to the addition of the quantum dot. So if you're interested, check out the MPG321URF QD. That one is excellent for content creations, and you can game really well on it with its high refresh rate and fast response time. So now we have the monitor hooked up to it. You're pretty much close to being finished. And actually, Michiel, I noticed I didn't grab any screwdrivers. Can you grab me a screwdriver?
Oh, let me see.
It should be somewhere there that's yes. Available right there. All right.
For you. There you go.
So the last step is to make sure you connect the two little screws. So let's go for that, and then we are all set. Last one.
VRK is asking, how heavy is the monitor?
It's 7.7 kilos.
Okay, that was a quick answer.
So yeah, it's definitely not a light boy, because you know, there's definitely already like the metal footing that's already pretty heavy, because you know, you gotta really make sure that the construction of the entire structure here is like sturdy enough in order to carry the weight when you like use the adjustable stand, turn it around. When the monitor moves, you gotta make sure it doesn't fall, of course, right? So there's a lot of sturdy and heavy materials used in the entire construction of the monitor, hence why it's also 7.7 kilograms. So it's not
I quickly
light.
checked, and you're totally correct, 7.7. Got all those specs on point. Without a stand, it's 4.8, by the way. So if you're not going to use it with the original stand, so for example, if you're using a monitor arm or anything like that, make sure it can handle, well, if it can handle 5 kilograms or over, you're good, because it's 4.8, just the monitor itself without the stand.
All right, so you can already see, right, the monitor has adjustable stand. You know, it's a 4-way, so you can pretty much turn it into anything that you want. You can swivel, you can tilt, you can adjust the height. And this is quite important, you know, especially when you're like using the monitor for a long period of time. You really need to adjust it to a correct position in which you don't have to fatigue your neck. You can swivel quite far away. Let me turn it around so you can see this part more clearly. then I would really love to finally peel off the protective foil.
Ooh.
I need to be really careful, because we actually still need to use this monitor to shoot a video like this Friday. So I gotta make sure that when I actually remove this, I still can keep it in its original state. There's one more here. And one more protecting the emblem.
Troy says, I saw a red button, so it must be really good. That's indeed how you decide whether or not a monitor is good. Red button, it's a great monitor.
But do you know what a red button does though?
You control your video games with the joystick, right?
No, I was talking to Troy. You should know what it does, Troy, because I see you here every week. Let me see. What else?
You forgot some peeling on the side.
Side. Let me see.
On the right side.
Oh yeah, one more here. And let me check something else. Yeah, on the front there's one more part left. This one didn't make much noise, unfortunately. Okay, now it's all set.
I can see your fatty fingers on the screen, Jan.
No, you can't.
Not anymore now.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Quickly cleaning.
It's impossible to not touch the screen while I'm grabbing it, so this is probably gonna happen a lot during this live stream, guys, so get used to it. Clean it. Love the color though. Okay,
Troy
so here we have it.
Let me guess, self-destruct button. Let's hope not.
There's only one way to test out, right? Oh wait, it's not connected, so it's not gonna work. Here we have it, the MAG281URF. It is our 28-inch and second ever 4K gaming monitor. So the biggest difference with this one and the one that we started with like 2 or 3 years ago, which was the MAG321URF. And so that one is actually curved, so that's already like the biggest difference. But the second one is its spec. This one is really a high-end spec model, because the first one was actually only 60 Hertz. And this one is sitting at 144 Hertz. And there's a lot to talk about. And so, definitely stay tuned in the live stream. And if you have any questions, please, regarding the monitor, let us know. Because right now I'm going to show you, some inputs, the front and the back and details. And if there's anything else you would like to see that I didn't show yet, try to let us know. And we'll do our best to pick out your statement or question or even feedback. So if you have any feedback for us as well, drop them in the chat.
If you think the red button is horrible and it should be blue, let us know.
Well, red is kind of our color though, right? I can imagine like Lucky being blue. So
Janice says Monster Blue 0, same here. I don't have the blue one. Mine is actually being keyed away, so it looks blue. It's the background.
No, it's a feature. It's a special edition.
Special edition.
Special edition.
It's like I can have the tree and everything.
So,
by the way, we're not sponsored by Monster, and we can also mention Red Bull and all other kind of drinks that you have. Coca-Cola, Pepsi. We can talk about everything. So
let's start with the back side, because this is where most of the aesthetics actually sit. The 5-way joystick, all of you guys should be aware of this feature already, because come on, it's basically on all of our gaming monitors in our MAG, MPG, and MEG series. So here we also have a Rgb Led Strip. So this one you can control with our gaming OSD. Well, sorry, well, you have to go through gaming OSD first, and then you can activate Mystic Light. There you can, you know, customize the effect however you want it. You can also customize them per region.
And you can use them with Ambient Link, right?
Yeah.
So if you're playing a game that supports the Ambient Link feature, then all your RGB will basically react to what's happening in the game. You can, for example, also do that with Far Cry 6, which is one of the most recent titles that supports Ambient Link. And yeah, you can basically your whole RGB ecosystem with Mystic Light, you can interconnect to the game.
It's awesome, you know.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
You can connect Nanoleaf, you can connect Philips Hue to it as well. We actually did a dedicated live stream, like Peter did it about
I did it with Peter
3-4 weeks ago, I believe.
Yeah, about a month ago indeed. We did a dedicated live stream with Far Cry 6 and Ambient Link, so you can see how it responds. And it's still a work in progress, so we're still improving it. But yeah, I think it already looks really cool. I like it when the RGB does something interactive with the game.
Antoinette is saying the matte finish with the sharp angles makes it look strong and expensive. The design is impressive. Thank you for the feedback. We appreciate it. And if you don't think the design is good, let us know. You know, what would you like to see different?
Adrian is asking, is there HDMI 2.1?
Already running ahead of schedule. I like that. Yes, indeed. It has HDMI 2.1. So I guess you already know what that means, right? Since you're asking it. So to those of you who don't know what it means, stay tuned. All right. So what's more to the backside? Here we have, well, usually there's like a little label right here that gives you all the specifications, the technical details regarding the monitor, and also the model name and stuff like that. But since we have a very early model from our lovely colleagues from our headquarters, this one actually doesn't have a label yet, so not even the serial number. So if this one is to disappear, nobody will find out. Okay, so let's take a look at the inputs right here. We have indeed HDMI 2.1 available right here. We have the audio jack and also display ports. It's 1.4 and a USB Type-C as well. And this one, besides 15-watt charging, fast charging, it's also a DisplayPort alternative option. And also here we have the, well, let me use the other hand.
So both HDMI ports support HDMI 2.1, right?
Yeah, and here we have the USB upload. So you need to connect this part in order to control your, for example, your USB and doing some, well, actually I was going to tell you this later, but also if you want to upgrade your firmware, you need to have this enabled as well. And one more specific feature later I'll also get into, you also have to connect the USB Type-B upstream. So very important. Furthermore, we have two more USB connections. Unfortunately, they are USB 2.0s, not 3.0s. But this is only just, you know, just so you can use your peripherals and stuff like that for simple stuff, just for your convenience. That's why they're here. And here is the headphone jack.
Yeah, so not meant for fast hard drives and stuff, but it's great just to connect a keyboard or a mouse or a headset or
exactly. And we have the power button here, and underneath here you might be a little bit unfamiliar with those. Well, if you are, if you have like mouse bungees and stuff like that, that's attachable to a monitor. This is what it's for. So you can attach mouse bungees and make sure your cable is well managed and your desk looks really clean. On the front, not that much that I can say besides, you know, our iconic bezel-less design. You do see a little bit of my fingerprint right there, so I might have to do a wipe again. Why not?
Whoop. Keep it close.
There we go. I did the best I can.
Hello camera, focus. There we go.
And if you're wondering about the thickness, this is about it. Alright, so now you know about the aesthetics, you know about the hub. So this is a 28-inch monitor, right? If you're unfamiliar with this kind of sizes, since we do know that majority of the people still are using 24, 25 inches. So that's why if you're planning on upgrading, just to show you guys, you know, what kind of size might be better for you. Let me grab this one. So this is a 32-inch monitor. Bye, Michiel.
And I'm gone.
And compared to the 32-inch, let me turn it a little bit. As you can see, there is definitely a noticeable difference in the size alone. So yeah, if you're sitting like quite far away from your desk, it's quite big, you know, 32-inch might be a better option for you. And if you're like relatively closer to the monitor, this is definitely a better option. And of course, it also depends on, you know, what kind of resolution you want. So today we are talking about a 4K resolution, of course. And why that's important is that it influences a lot, you know, how sharp the monitor is going to look and feel to you. Since you're stretching many pixels on your screen's real estate. So the smaller your screen actually is, and the more, the higher resolution, the denser the pixel density is going to be, which then translates into a sharper experience. So in just a moment, I'll also show you just how much difference there is in between the pixels, like just how sharp it looks compared to like a regular Full HD gaming monitor, which is still kind of being dominated in the market right now, where majority of the people are still using. But we do see, you know, there's more and more people going through the transition, going to 27 or in this case 28 inches. And if you wonder, okay, what's then the difference between 27-inch and 28-inch? Not that much. So here I
can give you the answer. It's 1 inch.
But if you want to know,
yeah, they're
if you put
really
them
close.
right next to each other, what's the difference? You really have to look for the difference.
Apparently our microphones are cutting out at certain times. Can you maybe let us know if it's for both microphones or one of us? And I can see if I can maybe find a solution.
So I'm covering my mic, so if Mike is talking, then you know, let us know if it's his problem, or if not, if it's mine. Okie dokie. So a little bit more specs. So this one, first of all, has an IPS panel. So not VA, but IPS. And of course, I already mentioned the refresh rate, but in case you missed it, you know, the basics, it has a 144 Hz refresh rate, setting at a 4K or Ultra HD resolution. And if you are wondering about the syncing, it is also G-Sync compatible. Some basic stuff. So of course, a little bit later, I will show you guys in more details regarding what kind of, you know, some more stuff like the DCI-P3 values and sRGB values, stuff like that. But right now, you are aware of some basics. So if you have any questions, just let us know, of course. Otherwise, I'm just gonna continue. So let me try to power it on and show you guys what the pixel difference and what the sharpness difference is between like a 27-inch Full HD and a 28-inch 4K. And trust me, it's a lot. Let me just connect the cables first. So, in the meantime, it's already maybe time for our first winner.
I think that is a good idea. So if you haven't
Since I'm setting
participated
this
yet,
up anyways.
go to msr.com/2/inside, or if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, our bot will put a direct link to our Gleam giveaway once every 5 or 6 minutes, I believe. Within Gleam, you can perform certain actions, and the more actions you perform, the bigger chance you will have to win. So make sure to perform as many as possible. Also, if you're a returning visitor, make sure to claim your loyalty bonus as well, to have a slight edge in the giveaway. And our first winner of today is David Marshall. Congratulations, you won the first
David.
game code for Far Cry 6 today.
Awesome game, awesome.
So if you have already participated this week, there's no need to do anything because you will automatically be included in the next drawings as well. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to do so because we will give away a few more codes throughout the stream. Super Orange Bro is asking, my MSI Optics G27C2 sometimes doing green flickering on the screen on the bottom for a couple of minutes when I first boot it up. Any quick tips on that? It's hard to judge on from here, but what I suggest is maybe try with a different cable and see if the problem still arises. So if you're on DisplayPort, maybe try with a different DisplayPort cable, or try through HDMI and see if you have the same issue, to see if you can pin down where it is. Oh, SD Rockman says, sorry, microphones are fine. For some reason, the volume slider on YouTube was moving when I was moving my mouse. Okay, good. I was already being worried that there was an issue with the microphone.
Yeah.
But good to hear that
I know, during our live streams, technical stuff usually happens, so we're not new to it.
We've had audio issues, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I have them sitting right next to each other. I'm gonna grab a camera so I can show you guys. If we compare like some pixels side by side, how much difference there actually is. So let's see. Right here I have a 27-inch Full HD gaming monitor, which is quite common. Now if you, let's see if the camera is not really focusing that well, but
yeah, there it goes.
Mind the letters. See how close I can get. Okay, so you can almost count the pixels, right?
Not almost, I can count them.
Almost. You see the pixels already. Now if I switch to the MAG281, the 4K version, now tell me just look at the edges.
Yeah, especially on the diagonal edges, you can see it quite clearly. Here you can easily see, like, it's almost like like the stairs basically. A lot smoother here, yes.
And here basically pretty much it's gone. You can't find it. And if you're actually looking at this with your own eyes, it's going to look so much better than how the camera picks up the screen. It's just so much smoother. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you just look at the edges, you're going to see so much difference between like a 4K and a Full HD. It's quite night and day. If you look at like the MEG logo, it's full of like what Mike just said, like stairs. And if you take a look at this one, it's smooth as butter. And that basically is your sharpness, just how the entire screen just reflects the sharpness is just insanely different. But of course, you also got to keep in mind, if you're gaming, it's going to require a different kind of performance from your system, whether you're playing on Full HD or 4K, obviously, right? But for those of you, who really want to have like the sharpest possible screen in this kind of, let's say, ranges, like size, and also budget-wise. You know, having a 4K resolution being crammed into a 28-inch screen real estate, which is the size of this, it's gonna give you an insane pixel density, and that's what's making the screen like so freaking sharp. I locked my wheel, so let me unlock it. Okay. So yeah, that's basically for now, let's say some of the basics. And here you can also see the RGB since I turned this on already. Now some parts, sometimes when it turns to green, it's gonna look really weird because that's being keyed away and looks black, right? That's because of the green screen. So don't worry, it's not like you know, you're having a weird effect. It's just being keyed away. And oh, it's actually, Michiel, it's okay because I have this right.
Oh, you have this?
Yeah, I have this later.
I was quickly calculating the pixel density.
Oh, your pixel density will calculate like that. Oh, I thought you were just counting the pixels, but no,
I'm not counting it.
Don't have the numbers for the pixel density yet, but you can share that. Yes, sure.
It's almost 158 ppi. So ppi is pixels per inch, which is a lot. Just for comparison, if you would, for example, take a full HD at the same size, you would get a little less than 79. So that's a huge difference. If you would, for example, have Quad HD, then you would have a little over 105 pixels per inch. So yeah, it's really high. So almost 158 pixels per inch.
Okay, let's see. Charles is also saying high PPI, always better. You get the point. Good to see.
Yeah, it makes it a lot sharper.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you guys some gaming features. Interesting TN on YouTube is mentioning KeyVM 2.0 looks promising. That's actually one of the features I'm going to demonstrate right now, which is also like where we actually have introduced the feature like for the first time in our gaming monitors lineup, the 2.0. So KeyVM, the standard one, everybody is like kind of already like aware of. You can like use different sources at the same time with one monitor, but with the 2.0 there's indeed a big difference, which is you can now also actually transfer files between sources with one monitor and one set of keyboard, mouse, or joystick even. So that's the biggest difference between 2.0 and 1.0. But let me show you that in just a moment. Right now, let me give you the general software. So Gaming OSD here. Let me unplug something else first. Okay. It just jumped back to extend, so I have to duplicate again. Okay. Oh yes, I didn't connect the USB upload cable.
Always important.
Yes,
if you want to use gaming USB OSD, make sure to connect the USB cable because that's how it can read the settings from your monitor.
There we go.
By the way, you also need that in order to be able to control the RGB lighting of the monitor. Then make sure to connect the USB uplink because that allows you to control a lot in the monitor.
Where is it? Right here.
GigaRam says that will be perfect for me as I use a 2PC stream setup. Yes, for sure. You can indeed easily control both on one monitor. So your dedicated streaming PC and the one you probably game on.
Exactly. So this feature really provides a lot of value to those who use multiple sources, or you know, when you're multitasking, you can connect your different PC. You can connect a different, for example, even a laptop. And yeah, you can use everything at the same time, which is what makes it so great. So let me change the scaling because you can't really see it that well. Let's see, it's 100%. If this makes it better, a lot better, I think. Right, Michiel?
Yeah, this is, for me, it's readable.
Okay.
I hope it's readable for you guys as well. Otherwise, let us know in chat. We can increase the scaling a little bit so it's bigger, if that's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, so in this gaming monitor, the MAG281URF, the gaming OSD is a little bit more extensive than our usual gaming OSD with our basic models. So the biggest difference being that here you also have your smart gaming features, since we also have included like smart crosshair and our optic scope, which is also a smart gaming feature. I will demonstrate this later in Far Cry 6, so don't worry. But right now, I'd just like to show you, in case you're unfamiliar with the Gaming OSD 2.0 app, which is an app that we keep on improving over time and over time. So there's always like an updated version coming out. But what can you do with the gaming app? The Gaming OSD app. You can create your own profiles, which is one of my favorites because every time when I play, like for example Formula 1, I make sure I activate racing. This will change the screen's values and characteristics more into something that fits the racing game better than, for example, when you're like playing a FPS game. But of course, you can tune everything to your own liking, so you can customize every profile however you like, and then save it. Also create new profiles from scratch, that's also fine. And every time when you like start a game, you can link it to the game, and then it just automatically like activates that profile that you have created before.
I see some questions in chat, by the way. Rayo is asking, can a monitor be mounted on the wall as well? Yes, it supports VESA 100 x 100 millimeters. So if you're using a mount that is compatible with that VESA standard, then yes, you can, for example, mount it to a wall, can use a monitor arm or anything like that. So yes, that's definitely possible. Irewolfman is asking, no app for when using a console for settings. No, Gaming OSD can only be used through Windows. But of course the monitor itself still has its normal OSD. So when you're using a console, you can still use the joystick on the back to access the settings through there. But the Gaming OSD, as you see here, that's specifically on Windows.
Gigaram is saying, I'm going to get one now, lol, just putting my monitor on eBay. Good to hear. Good to hear that we were able to help you with this kind of stuff. Okay, so the Gaming OSD, furthermore, there's a lot of the stuff that you can tune, whether it's brightness, contrast, sharpness. You can make it even artificially sharper than it already is, which is just insane. But hey, some people prefer this. You can definitely try this out for yourself to see what fits you better. I will also show you guys when I start up Far Cry 6 what the night vision will look like and how it's going to enhance your gaming experience, because there are a lot of the situations where some specific parts of the scene, of the frame, of the map, of whatever it is that you are in the game, that's going to be so much darker than the rest of the areas. Like when I, for example, play Call of Duty, like Warzone, even sometimes when you are like near a hangar, there's like a big storage area, let's say big garage. When you enter there, like the corners there are like so dark, it's like impossible to see if somebody is sitting there or not. And then before you realize that he has already like taken you down. So this is just like one of these kind of examples. Now, to better translate night vision so you can understand this better, you can also see it as a black equalizer. Now, the black equalizer is traditionally very bad because it overexposes your entire frame. So, the blacks gets washed out, it gets lighter, but it doesn't show details. It just gets washed out like your entire frame.
And the contrast gets really low because of it.
So it's really bad. Now what night vision does is that it looks for the dark areas only, and then it will give you the details in the dark areas. So it will lower the black levels in the dark areas while still keeping the details without washing out the frame. So that's night vision, and I'll also show you this in Far Cry 6 later, like I said.
See a question in Twitch chat. Leeward is asking, is it viewable at 100% scaling in person? Depends on how good your eyes are. I would say it's hard. I would use a little bit of scaling with 28 inches at this resolution, because the pixel density is really, really high. So yeah, if you got really good eyes and if you're not too far from your monitor, yes, you can use it without scaling. But I think for most people it will be more comfortable to, for example, use that 120, 25 or even 150%.
Yeah, and if you're interested, like right now, I'm sitting at 200%.
Yeah.
Just to make this more readable to you guys, because the smaller your scale, obviously, the smaller your entire frames, well, everything gets.
Everything and the text, everything gets smaller. But yeah, right now we're making it a bit bigger for you guys, so it's easier to see. But in person, you would not use this at 200. Well, at least I wouldn't use it at 200% scaling.
Yeah. And something else that you can also easily tune here is your the response time. So this is basically when you're trying to overclock your monitor's response time, that it will get to the 1 millisecond, like more and more in a majority of the cases. But you gotta try to see which mode works better for your game, also for your own experience, because. Like if you put it to like the fastest, then indeed it is in the fastest mode, but sometimes it can have like, but this is like very generic to all of the gaming monitors out there, so not just like this. So if you put the response time for like really the fastest mode, it can perform better in some situations, but it can also have like some overshooting problems. But
yeah, so it's basically the overdrive feature.
Yeah, so you got to really test out, which one works the best for you, and maybe hey, there's zero problems and you are not even bothered by it, and you still have like a better performing monitor.
Usually, I would say with most monitors, the fast option is usually the best of both worlds. You don't have a lot of overshoot, but you still get very good response times. Fastest is, it usually is slightly faster, but it generally gives you a lot more overshoot than the fast setting. So yeah, it's trial and error. It's also what you're doing on the monitor. Like if you're, for example, video editing or anything like that, or using Photoshop or whatever, then response times don't really matter. So then, of course, normal will be perfectly fine. For gaming, I would say the fast option would be the most suitable one for most people.
Yeah. So Sister is asking on Twitch, when is this monitor releasing? Well, it really kind of depends on what region you are at the moment, because some regions might have already ordered this because it's already launched. So it really depends, which resellers have already made the order, and whether it's already being shipped, or the order is still to be made, or in some regions it's still not fully let's say released yet. But generally it's already out there, and I can't guarantee that you can find it depending on where you are yet. Okay, since we're talking about this anyway, so one of the biggest advantages of, or I would say like maybe the benefits of this monitor, is that if you are capable of doing 4K gaming, you have the hardware for it, and you don't have to break your bank account in order to have a high performing 4K gaming monitor. So we're not talking about like a 4K monitor at 32 inches and 100 hertz refresh rate. Because if you really have the hardware for it and you can get above 100 hertz, then what you're looking at is like 144. And those kind of cases, the monitor will translate. It will translate into a very, very expensive price tag. And this 4K sitting at 28 inches, you still have all the benefits from the 4K solution without breaking your bank account. Because this one, right now, again, depending on where you are, the price can differ, but the indication is around 700 euros. So yeah, definitely if you're looking into 4K gaming, a very good and affordable option with a lot of the premium gaming features included. Now, coming back on, so yeah, someone was already talking about via KVM in the chat, indeed, and this is also in the Gaming OSD app where you have to sort of activate it. So if you just standard, it's already on auto, but you can choose differently. Just leave it auto, that'll be the best option. And then after you have done this, make sure that the sources here are selected correctly, because you need to use picture by picture in order to use KVM here. So you put it to picture by picture and then select the sources and then just click start. And again, very important, you gotta connect the USB Type B, the upstream cable. Without that, the driver for the link is not going to be installed, because that's going to be installed automatically if you connect the cable to your PC. So
that's something a lot of people forget, because many people just connect the power and either DisplayPort, HDMI. Make sure to connect the USB uplink, because if you don't do that, this function will not work. The gaming OSD in general will not work. You cannot control the RGB on the back of the monitor, so make sure to connect that cable.
So that's why we have made it this way, that, let me show you, if you don't connect the cable, you cannot even access gaming OSD, because it will then simply say, make sure the USB Type B is connected. So you're already being reminded the cable is not connected. So you gotta plug this in, and then you can make sure to enjoy all
I see some
the
questions
benefits.
in chat. Our Wolfman is asking, will there be much stock? Monitors like this are not being sold either, or it's out of stock or removed off websites. I'm not sure about the stock on this one. Also depends per region probably.
Yeah, it is very new yet, so it needs a little bit more time to be rolled out in every region.
Arwolf says EU and Ireland, for example, have no monitors in stock. I think especially these days around Christmas, it's sometimes hard to obtain anything. So yeah, a lot can be sold out. But I think early next year, availability for this model should be better, right, John?
100%. So like I said, this one just got released, so it's really still in the early stages. But yeah, we wanted to give you some early information regarding this, and if you're interested, then you can make sure to check when your local retailer has it in stock, so you can start to enjoy your own 4K gaming experience.
Or if you want to have more accurate date for your specific region, it's best to contact your local reseller to see when they expect stock of that specific model.
Yeah, and one of the key features is the hotkey settings in gaming OSD. Since if you want to activate any of your favorite features, you don't have to open the gaming OSD app every time to do so, because you can set up hotkeys like it suggests. So if you want to activate your gaming profiles, just try to make a hotkey for this, like Shift, Control, and then maybe 3 or something like that, whatever you like. And here you have tons of the gaming features that you can make the shortcut for, including all of the smart gaming features and also KVM. So yeah, definitely make sure to check this out if you're using Gaming OSD app, so you can always use your features without touching your monitor or using the app.
Shisher is asking on Twitch chat, how many HDMI 2.1 ports does this monitor have? It has 2 of them. So 2 times HDMI 2.1. Then it has 1 regular DisplayPort connection, and it has USB Type-C with DisplayPort alt mode support. So basically you got 4 monitor inputs on it. Belsnis is asking on YouTube chat, can you rotate the monitor vertically? I missed that part. So I think you mean the portrait mode. Maybe you can quickly...
Yeah, let me see how far I can get with the cables connected. But,
but yes, you can definitely turn it around.
Let me give it a bit more space. There you go.
Then I see a question from David James. Is this G-Sync compatible?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
You guys seem to already kind of know the monitor already. Asking all the right questions. Okay, so besides that, if you want to use the joystick as a macro key as well, you still have the option to do that here as well. So you can see here, this refers to the joystick, up, down, left, right. So yeah, you have a lot of the macro keys and hotkeys to adjust in order to make your gaming experience a lot more efficient.
Talking about good questions, by the way, our Wolfman is asking, if you have 2 of these monitors, will the OSD work for both screens? I actually don't know the answer to that.
Well, if you, it should, because both monitors first of all needs to be connected with the USB upstream anyways, so you need to connect both to your desktop. And then, but I'm not sure if you can tune the settings individually per monitor, and whether the the OSD will change both monitors to the same values. So that is actually quite a good question.
Yeah. Based on that question, that's definitely something we will try out.
Yeah, I haven't really tried that out up till now, no, indeed. Okay. Something else?
Our Wolfman's also asking, so if you're using your console, you have to have your PC connected to use most extra features? No, you can also control it on the monitor itself. So you don't need to use the software version of the gaming OSD. You can also use the joystick on the back of the monitor, and then you can also connect it on the monitor itself. So then you don't need to have it connected to your PC. But of course, if you want to use Gaming OSD 2.0, the one you're seeing now, that you will need a PC for.
So then if you want to tune your Mystic Light, like I said earlier, you don't need to download this. It's already included in the OSD app. You just go to this little RGB logo and then make sure you gain like instant 100 FPS if you just put on like a rainbow effect or something. 10 out of 10 would do. So yeah, if you have any questions regarding the OSD, because I'm not going to go into details regarding every little thing, because I think many of you already know like majority of the gaming OSD features, but I just wanted to remind you guys, and especially if you're new to it. But right now, let me set up KVM so I can show you guys how you can use like multiple sources at the same time, and how you can even like get across files and stuff. Very important is that you need to connect your mouse and keyboard to the monitor itself, so not in the PC. And that's how your keyboard and mouse can go through both sources at the same time. So let me unplug my mouse and keyboard out of the desktop.
Harmon is asking YouTube, does this monitor have variable refresh rate? Yes, it does. It's G-Sync compatible. And he's also asking, does the monitor have variable overdrive? Now that's a setting you will fix. So that's the response time you now see on the screen. It's currently set to fast. You can choose between either, I believe it's called normal or medium. Then you have fast and fastest. Jesse is asking, what's the best place to submit future product requests? Is it MSI forum? It depends a bit from what angle it is. Is it like for reviewing, for reselling, for sponsoring? I would say in almost any situation, the answer would be best to contact your local MSI office, so the one that's responsible for your specific region, and they should be able to help you further.
So then after you have connected your mouse and keyboard to the monitor itself, I kind of put it to like half portrait mode, that's why it looks so weird. But so here we have two USB ports. Connect your mouse and keyboard, and then first of all also make sure your USB upstream is connected, and after that you gotta find a source. Well, in this case I have a laptop here, and then you gotta connect a USB Type-C. You also gotta make sure that your USB Type-C actually has the DisplayPort alternative function. So without that, it's simply a USB port, and it's good for charging and stuff like that. And then grab a USB Type-C cable that's also capable of transferring signal transmission. Then just plug in the laptop into the USB Type-C port in your monitor. After that, go to your, let me turn this around. Go to your gaming OSD. Let me log into the laptop first. Okay, go to your gaming OSD, which is here. Make sure KVM already selected to auto, and then go for picture by picture. So source, we have DisplayPort right now that's plugged into the eSysTi5 underneath the table, and the second one is the USB Type-C. Later you can also choose which mode. I will also show you what that means, and then just click on start, and then the monitor will do all the work. So let me give you a view of how this looks like. Where is the phone? Where did I drop the phone?
I don't know, you just had it a
I
short
usually
while ago.
lose the screws, but oh yeah, it's here.
You got it?
It's like black on black, so it's like really nice camouflage on this table. But you know, since this cannot be captured, you know, the capture is only capturing our eSysTi source. So you know, this is a monitor function. So I need to show you guys externally how this looks like. Just a second, and let me open up the camera. There we go. Basically, it looks like this, but right now I'm in, let me check, which mode was this? Shoot. Let me go back and then select different mode first. Okay, VM. It's on auto. Okay, and then let me go back to the gaming OSD, and then I need to reset it so I can show it, because gaming OSD right now is not showing up. So I need to go back to the first mode, and then I can show you how it looks like. So any of you guys who is actually using multiple sources, whether it's a laptop, a new desktop, I can imagine, you know, especially nowadays, you know, with everybody working from home.
Yep, that's
this
also
is
where I
be,
use it for.
It's going to come in quite handy.
Yeah.
You have like a work laptop and stuff like that, and then you want to use this at the same time as well with, you know, your gaming setup. It's going to go pretty well.
Raoul is asking, do you guys have any 2K 24-inch 144 Hz monitor? We don't have any 4040p at 24-inch. I think the smallest we have in 4040p is 27-inch. 2K is always a bit confusing because some people refer to 2K as being 2560 x 1440, while others refer to 2K as being full HD, basically 1920 x 1080. Of course, in 1920 x 1080, we have several 24-inch options at 144 Hz, 165 Hz, or at 25-inch. You can even go all the way up to 360 Hz. Reo is asking USB 2.0 or 3.0. The USB ports on this monitor are USB 2.0. They're basically meant for connecting, for example, mouse or a keyboard to use in combination with the KVM 2.0 functionality. Let's see.
Oh, just a second, almost done.
Shishir is asking, Ja, is this a quantum dot display?
It is not, actually.
This is a rapid IPS one, not the quantum dot. So no QD version. That's where you can usually see it. So in the product name, if it says QD, then it's a quantum dot model.
Hey, I am Box is back in the chat. Good to see. I think maybe before we continue, it's time for another winner. So we already have one winner for today's Far Cry 6 giveaway. We have more to come, so let's see who the second winner is.
If you haven't participated, go to msr.com/2/insider, or if you have already participated today, then no need to do anything. And our second winner for today is Derek C. Congratulations, you also won a game code for Far Cry 6. To both winners, keep an eye out on your mailbox. We'll email the code to you with some instructions on how to redeem it in the coming days. So congratulations, Derek C. So if you haven't participated, go to msr.com/2/insider. If you're watching on either YouTube or Twitch, you can also follow the direct link in the chat that our bot will put in there once every 5 or 6 minutes. Omek says I can't click the link. Do you mean the link in the chat that the bot puts there? You should be able to click that one. It's cut off. That's strange. Oh, I am Box is in the chat. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome.
You are a little bit late today, I am Box. Are you not?
Oh, we still have some time to go in the stream. King is asking, what is the refresh rate? It's 144 Hertz for this specific monitor. So up to, of course, you can use lower as well, or you can use variable refresh rate, like the Joystick compatible feature. Also supports AMD FreeSync, so you can also use it with an AMD card if you're using one of those. So you can use variable refresh rate with both NVIDIA and AMD on this monitor. But it's up to 144 Hertz. I am Box says, listen, I don't have an excuse.
At least you're honest. Well, I actually had to restart my PC because some updates, so...
Updates, you always get them at the best moment possible.
And that seems to have messed with the KVM a little bit, so I have to reset it. Wonderful stuff when you have to do things in
Evergame Studios is asking, what's the GTG? That means gray to gray. So that's basically the transition from a certain gray level to another gray level. So that's, for example, being used for response times, because transitioning from gray to gray is slightly different than when changing from a color to another color. Gray to gray is usually faster. So if you're seeing 1 millisecond gray to gray, that doesn't mean it can also do 1 millisecond when you're going from a color to another color. Zombie XDJ is asking in the YouTube chat, does HDMI 2.1 go up to 144 Hertz? On PC, yes, it does. If you're using a console, I believe it's up to 4K 120 Hertz. But on PC, it doesn't matter which input you're using. So if you're using DisplayPort or the USB Type-C with the DisplayPort alt mode, or one of the two HDMI 2.1 connections, all of them can do the full resolution, so Ultra HD up to 144 Hertz. Adrian is asking, when is this monitor coming out? I believe it's officially out already, right? Yeah. It's just depends a bit per region when it will be available in the stores. But yeah, it is officially out. It's also live on our website. There you can also find more technical details. Or of course you can ask them in the chat. Then we'll try to answer as many as possible. Evergame Studio said, sorry I missed if you said what was the GTG on that monitor. That's a gray to gray. Or do you mean what the value is on this monitor? Because I believe it's 1 millisecond gray to gray. Yes, 1 millisecond gray to gray response time. Lee Watt says, sneaky Windows updates. Windows always does that. Sneaky time.
It always sneaks up on you when you least expect it.
Yeah, especially, for example, after a long day of work, you want to go home, you switch off your laptop, and it says, Windows update, do not switch off now. And then it takes like 15 minutes before you can finally go home. Mr. G says, available in the US. Yes, it will be available in the US. I don't know if it's already available right now. I don't know for each specific region when it will be. So best to check with your local reseller if it's not available yet to see when it will become available. Tamin666 is asking, am I too late for the giveaway? No, you're not. We will still give away a couple of Far Cry 6 codes. So go to msrp.com/2/insider or follow the direct link to Gleam that the bot will put in the chat once every 5 or 6 minutes. Merrick is asking, any news on the MSI Liberator releasing? That's a very good question, actually. I don't know about the latest updates about that. It's more of an experimental thing. But let me check that for you. I'm also curious to see if and when it will hit the market. You've been paying attention to the live stream. It's good. I did enjoy playing Quake with the Liberator and beating Eric in Quake with my foot.
Okay, so
Our Wolfman is asking, does it have firmware update via USB?
Indeed it has.
Yes.
Especially for people like you, it's right there.
And will
so
there be a region-specific update?
You stay optimized.
No, I don't think it will have region-specific. What kind of region-specific update would you like to have? Because I think in general, if we have a firmware update, it's for worldwide. King is asking, is making a 4K 360Hz monitor possible? At this point in time, no. I don't think there are any panels yet available that have a 4K resolution at 360Hz. But in the future, I definitely expect that to be available. But right now, I think 360Hz is still limited to 1080p. Nowadays, there are more and more panels popping up with 1440p 240Hz, but no, 4K 360Hz at this point. I don't believe there are any panels yet. Database 101, is it available in Italy? I'm not sure. Best to check with your local reseller. I don't know the specific availability per specific country. So Ja, how's your Windows update?
It's all good. Let me start up the camera so I can show you.
Our Wolfman is asking if the monitor is different from the US or EU, will all models be the same? That's what I meant by firmware. I think from a firmware perspective, they will be the same. Usually on the US model, you will find a different power cable, power adapter. I think the power adapter is even identical. It's just a power cable because the adapter, I believe, can support both 110 and 230 volts. So it should be fine on either, but of course you will get a different power cable with it with a different plug.
Yeah, okay, so let's switch to a different mode. Right now I have like the laptop right here. It's connected via USB Type-C. And then in the Gaming OSD app, I chose the picture-by-picture mode, so this is basically what you see. On the left, you have your desktop. On the right, you have your laptop. But you can also choose to have them presented in the same, let's say, size. But I prefer this way so I can see more of my desktop. So the right side is the laptop, as you can see. And this side is the TI-5, right underneath the table. Right now, if I move my mouse, which is connected to the monitor, just like my keyboard, you see that I'm actually moving my laptop. So this is because they're both connected through the monitor, and the monitor is actually steering where, steering your keyboard and mouse. So this way you can also operate your laptop as if you're actually on your laptop. And then if you want to go back to your desktop, just make sure that KVM is set to auto. but you can also use a hotkey for this, so no problem. And this will actually work a bit better if you have like GameOSD installed on the second source as well, but since here we have our company hardware, we can't really install anything, so I'm just showing you guys this way. But if you have like GameOSD installed on both sides, then this goes much smoother. But then, as you can see here, I'm back to my desktop. So pretty simple and really straightforward how you can use two sources at the same time, just through GameOSD and some shortcuts. Let me see if I change the mode, for example. Takes a second, but this one actually gets even more big. So depending on what kind of priority you would like to give to your sources, you can also make one bigger than the other. So let's just go back to this. This way it looks a lot more balanced. So very simple if you just follow a few steps just to make sure that everything is working properly. So connect your USB upstream cable, make sure your source has a USB Type-C DisplayPort alternative feature, and then connect your keyboard and mouse to the monitor. Okay. Let me get out of this.
Shisher is saying most games barely even reach 80 FPS with a 3080 on 4K high settings. 144 Hz only for basic desktop use, in my opinion. Depends a little bit. Now, if you're using like native settings, then yes, even with a 3080 in many AAA titles, it will be really hard to get high frame rates. However, with, for example, DLSS for NVIDIA and also AMD FSR, you can get quite high frame rates also in 4K resolution. Of course, it is a different technique, so it's not native 4K, but it will still give you a very good visual experience, in my opinion, and it will still be extremely sharp.
Yeah.
And also depends per game, of course. In AAA titles, then it's definitely harder to get high frame rates than when you're, for example, playing esports titles like CSGO, Rocket League, games like that. You can easily run 144 FPS or higher in Ultra HD resolution.
I'll show you in just a second with Formula 1 just how insane the FPS can be.
Yeah, it really depends per game, but there are definitely also games where it's really hard to get those kind of FPS. So that's definitely why interesting to enable, for example, the G-Sync compatible or FreeSync feature on this monitor.
Yeah, and also to add to what Michiel just told you, if you're playing in a game, because 4K, it's all about resolution, it's about details. So if you for example, lower your game settings in the sense of some volumetric lighting, some other effects, that's not going to impact your game details, sharpness in that sense. You can definitely still, even with lower grade hardware, you can still enjoy close to 144 Hz, maybe even above 144 Hz, even with AAA title games, depending on, of course, on what game and also what setting. And also, with the future in mind, 4K is going to become more and more normal. So, you're not going to buy a gaming monitor for like 1 or 2 years used and then you're going to throw it away. If you're buying such a premium model, you're going to keep using it for the coming years to come. And, who's to say that, hardware is not going to improve by 2 years' time, where 4K gaming is like 1440p gaming, what that is for now. So, yeah. You don't have to worry that you can't get 144 Hz with 4K games. You definitely can, of course, with many variables where it depends on, but very, very doable.
I see a question in Twitch chat. Tamian666 was asking, is it a VA10 or IPS panel? I see Lee Watt already answered. It's indeed a rapid IPS panel.
Thank you. You what?
Edwin K is asking, why is there not a possibility to power a smartphone on the feet of the monitor? So on the foot of the monitor, I think you mean like in the stand to have like a wireless charger, like a QI charger. Is that what you mean? I would say, yeah, right now it's not the majority of the smartphones yet that has QI support. There are certain brands, or usually only the higher end models from those specific brands that can support wireless charging. So it's not that mainstream yet that it's worth it to implement it, I think, because it would quite significantly increase the price. And if more than half of the people buying the monitor can still not use it with their specific smartphone, then I wouldn't say it's worth it. But maybe when it becomes more and more mainstream, the QI charging, then it's definitely something we will look into to, for example, include on the monitor stand as well.
I see Jason Wong is also in the chat saying that's pretty awesome. I think he's new. Welcome, and thank you. Okay, so without further ado, let's give you a brief summary and introduction to a few more specs. So let's take a look at this. Okay, let me go into a different view. Come on. There we go.
That works.
So many of the basic specs you have already heard, but here is just a summary and an overview for you to see its entire, let's say, basic main features and specs. 28 inches, you know, the rest, I'm not gonna say everything out loud, you can read for yourself, but DCI-P3, for example, is already 95%, which is excellent, especially for a gaming monitor. This is already like at the level of content creations. Of course, if you are truly getting into content creations, preferably you're looking at like 98% or above even, but 95% is already like very, very capable and just pretty good. If it's like only for gaming, the colors are excellent. sRGB 124%, also excellent. And the HDR 400 also gives you a great HDR experience, especially with HDR now becoming more and more popular even in gaming. Like even Windows is going to focus on this part quite a lot, with this being standard as one of the standards in Windows features on the display. G-Sync compatible, this we also already mentioned, so if you have like a AMD graphics, you're also good to go. Something else. Now, the 4K resolution. So in more details, what this means is that you compare it to like a full HD, like I said earlier, where majority of the people is still sitting at, you know, some people, you know, they're already like rapidly transitioning into 1440p or 4K. Now, the biggest difference between like a full HD and a 4K resolution mainly sits in the pixels, in the pixel counts. So here I've already like noted down for you guys like full HD, and you know, you can also calculate this yourself for 1440p even if you're interested. Basically what you do is like you time the horizontal pixels by the vertical pixels. What you then get is like the total pixel count. Now, so for full HD you have like a little bit over 2 million pixels. When you're talking about 4K, this is a whole different story. Now, for the smartasses in the chat right now, you might have already noticed that, okay, this looks like the exact double of the vertical and the horizontal counts of the full HD, and that is indeed correct. So
who drew that red block on this image, by the way? Because that's super inaccurate. It should be exactly 1/4 of the monitor, basically. So you can have like 4 full HDs within 1 Ultra HD. So 2 on top and 2 to the side. So you will get a grid of 4.
Yeah.
So it should be exactly like 25%.
I just put it down there for
yeah,
illustration purposes. But let me change this into
25%.
exact quarter. There you go.
That's more accurate. Let me see. I see a question in chat. IR Wolfman is asking, will the USB Type-C work for a mobile, for example, DeX on Samsung? Well, what it uses is the DisplayPort Alt mode on USB Type-C. So the device has to support it. So that's also important if you want to connect a notebook to it. Also, the USB Type-C on that specific notebook needs to support the DisplayPort Alt mode, because not every single USB port can also carry a display signal with it. I'm not sure if on today's high-end smartphones that is the case, but I would assume that if they do support the DisplayPort Alt mode on the USB Type-C, that it should work. But yeah, don't quote me on that one, but I would say if it supports it, I don't see any bottleneck right there. King is asking, can I ask a question about MSI GPUs? We don't have our expert Peter here today on GPUs, but we can try to see what we know to see if we can answer your question.
Fire away.
Yep. Tian Venter is asking, how is the smart crosshair? Do gamers use it? Is it an advantage in FPS games? In certain games where you don't have a crosshair exactly in the middle, yes, it can give you an advantage. Within our department, we always have a little bit of a disagreement whether or not it's fair to use such a crosshair. I personally think it's kind of cheating because it's not intended to be in the game, and through your OSD you do get it to see it on your monitor. So I personally wouldn't use it, but Eric would for sure use it.
I'm gonna use it without like a second thought.
It's a bit, so yes, it can definitely give you a competitive advantage, but you have to decide for yourself whether or not it's ethical.
Since when did you become so ethical, Michiel?
With gaming, I'm quite ethical.
Really?
I want to genuinely be.
Is that why I caught you cheating last time with Unreal Tournament?
You got me cheating with Unreal Tournament? When? Never.
No, I'm just kidding, guys. Mike never cheats. He's a really decent guy when it comes to gaming. But
very
you know, you definitely have the feature at your disposal. And one of the smart features, well, the smart crosshairs main benefits, I'll say, is also to give you like the most clarity in all occasions. So when the background, well, let me just show you in just a second. Almost there. Okay, so yeah, it's basically what it comes down to is it's 4 times sharper because it's 4 times the pixel count as the Full HD. That's why, just like before, when I show you the difference between the pixels, like how sharp it looks between the Full HD and the quality of the 4K. The pixels that you see on Full HD basically means that, you know, there aren't enough pixels to be spread out on the screen's real estate to be able to really bridge those kind of gaps, where in which case, you know, you see the stairs kind of effect. With 4K, you have so many more pixels, 4 times more, that all of these kind of bridges and gaps are being filled, so you can't really find the edges because there's so many more pixels being crammed into the same area. So really, really sharp. Sometimes when I look at it like too often, it even cuts my eyes. It's really annoying. Okay, so the less blue light feature is also something new that we are introducing. Traditionally, when you use less blue light, what it means is that your screen will turn yellow. So you activate a feature, your game OSD, or through the joystick, or through the hotkeys, then your screen eliminates all of the blue light and then the screen turns yellow. So here we actually have like a hardware solution for this that by default it's already implemented. So this is because the wavelength is being manipulated differently than before. So this way you can still get rid of the, well, not entirely get rid of the, but you know, eliminate a lot of the short wavelengths of the blue light, and still keep the monitor's value when it comes to color reproduction and color accuracy. And of course, if you don't think this is enough and you still find yourself you know, fatigued after using this for like hours and hours because of the blue light, you can still opt to go for the less blue light feature in the game OSD, which will still make your monitor yellowish. Basically, you know, having like an extra precautious step. Personally, I really don't like that feature, so that's why I was really happy with you know, the hardware implementation with the eye safety for less blue light. And this, yeah, this is definitely a great stuff for your eye and for your comfort, without ruining your user experience.
I see a good question from Shishir on Twitch chat. When you have the crosshair enabled, so the one in the gaming OSD, and you screen record, does the crosshair also get recorded in the video? No, it does not. We can actually quickly show you. Maybe Jack, can you enable the
yes, just a second. Let me enable that first. And
so Jack is now enabling the crosshair, and then he will show you with his phone what he can see on the monitor, and I will also capture this specific screen. So this is what you would see when you would record the screen. So, oh, let me see. Are we still connected?
Yeah, I'm connected.
Let me try again. Can you restart your app?
Let's fix it. What about now?
Yes,
Okay,
that works.
we're back.
So Jack can now see the crosshair in the middle of his screen. And this is the capture of the exact same PC. So right here you cannot see it because it's something that gets added by the monitor itself.
It's moving live.
Yeah.
And then when we go back, it's back.
Got a Death Wish says, pure cheater in the making. Yeah, I personally agree. I also think it's cheating, especially in multiplayer. It's not something I would use. But no, on a screen recording you cannot see it. It's also not possible to detect by anti-cheat because it's not something that happens on your computer. It's something that happens after the display signal has already been transferred to your monitor, and your monitor includes the crosshair in there.
All right, continuing. Yeah, G's compatible. So I think you guys are all familiar with this, right? It's been introduced like quite a while ago. So the main benefits of being, you can also use the Red Team's AMD variances as well. And if you would like to stay up to date with your monitors, let's say basically having a monitor being optimized, you can also now upgrade the firmware. If we have like an update, it will definitely be on our webpage under the product page. There you can always make sure to download the latest firmware if we have fixed maybe some issues or there's some feature upgrades. There you can download the upgrade file, and again you have to connect the USB upstream cable, and with that you can update your monitor's firmware. Before, this used to be a hell of a job. And with 9 out of 10 times with people ruining the monitor because the firmware upgrade process was just so unbelievably difficult, even for experts. But right now it's made dummy proof, so you definitely can make sure your monitor stays up to date and optimized with firmware update now available. So this will be it, kind of the wrap for all of the features and specs for the MAG281URF, the 4K gaming monitor. From now on, we're going to go into gaming, in which I will also show you and demonstrate the smart gaming features. But before that, let's get into a bit of a 4K performance talk. So as you can see here from Tom's Hardware, this is where we gather the data, where they have tested 9 games average with 4K 3840 by 2160. Everything set to Ultra. With a 3090, you can get 100 FPS plus. But remember, this is with all the settings set to Ultra. And some games can definitely have like 200, 300, and even like 144 with AAA title games. But it really depends what kind of games. This is just an average, right? So you gotta take that, keep that in mind. So with everything set to max, you are like already pretty well off with a 2080 Super, which is already a 60 plus FPS experience. If you play around with the settings, you set everything to medium. What this means is that, as you can see right away, we jumped from like the 3090 from like 108 FPS to a 144 rounded off FPS, with everything else just making a big jump forwards. Now, some tips that we have for you guys is also, I just knocked down the Stream Deck, but
by Stream Deck.
Some tips.
They're still in the correct scene, by the way.
Yeah, but okay, let me pick it up. If you're like planning on maybe upgrading your setup or anything, just remember that when it comes to hardware, it's very important when you want to play a 4K that you have a very capable GPU. So in this case, the higher the resolution, the less your CPU is going to matter. Of course, you still need to have like an adequate CPU, not something like from like 10 years ago. If you have like a moderately new and capable CPU, a mid-tier, you are
like a
already
Ryzen
very
5 or
well
a
off.
current gen Ryzen 5 or current gen Core i5, or even I think I would say like if you have like for example a 10th gen or newer Core i5 or a 3000 series or newer Ryzen 5, then in 4K gaming you're basically good because you will get more GPU limited and CPU limited.
Exactly. So if you're planning on a new setup, a 4K setup, you can definitely save your money in the CPU department because you know it's all heavily depending on your GPU. Later I will also show you in live demo just how hard your CPU is actually working when you know all the workload is being basically placed on your GPU. So then if you just compare this kind of numbers with like 1440p, just for reference, in 1440p everything's set to ultra. In the same case, 3090, it's around 166 FPS, and this was compared to a 108 FPS in the 4K. So you basically have like a 60% increase in your FPS performance in 1440p. So yes, indeed, you definitely need to know if you're planning on buying a 4K gaming monitor that you also have like capable hardware to support it to, you know, really squeeze out those kind of beautiful details and performance. So these are all the kind of things that you have to keep in mind when considering hardware and considering your next build and even starting out in the PC Master Race journey, right? If you go to the, for example, 1440p medium, and this is really where everything just gets blown out. Like a lot of the hardware already reaching 200 plus FPS, and mind yourself, this is also including AAA title games, so still 9 games average. But all in all, 4K indeed not that easy. But if you play around with the settings, you can get very, very far. And depending on what kind of games you play, you're gonna be very well off. I'm going to show you the gameplay right now.
Belsness is saying 5600X is great for 4K, but 5800 is better. I would say like maybe for esports titles in 4K it can make a slight difference, but the difference will not be very big. But in AAA titles, I don't think you can get any difference between a 5600X and a 5800X. Because in the vast majority of the titles you will be GPU limited, and the 5600X is already very, very fast in the single core department. But yeah, I don't think you will see a difference there between those two CPUs. So already Ryzen 5 5600X for 4K gaming is plenty of power.
Okay.
Taman is asking, can I add the MPG 341 CQR stand instead of this monitor? Bless you. I kind of like the stand. Yeah, does that one also use the regular?
Sorry, I was sneezing. I didn't catch what you were saying.
Taman 666 is asking, can I add the MSI MPG 341 CQR stand?
341 CQR.
To this monitor.
I believe that one has a different mold when it comes to the connection point between the footing. No, I'm pretty sure it has a different mold, so no. Unfortunately, you can't. Thank you, versus the Eagle. I was even protecting your guys' eyes by covering the microphone, so I got your backs, guys. I mean ears. Did I say eyes? I meant ears. Okay, so let's get into gaming. So let's start with Far Cry 6. I have a really weird habit that
yeah,
I got this habit from XP. Like I just can't stop it. Like I do this automatically. I keep refreshing the desktop. Any of you guys who came from the Windows XP time frame?
I've been using Windows XP for a long time, but I never ever
refreshed my
desktop.
Then I think you had like pretty good hardware, because mine kept on freezing and hiccups and stuff like that. And every time you refresh your desktop, you know that the performance just kind of gets reset very weirdly, or if it doesn't refresh correctly, the Windows is being fucked up.
And the Windows XP time frame, I was already quite a big nerd, so I think I had quite a decent custom build back then. for that era.
Well, at least there's one guy in the chat saying Indra Kuni, me too.
So at least you're not the only one, Jet.
I refresh on a daily basis. People that get me, thank you.
I never refresh my desktop.
No, it's us plebs
Never,
with the less fortunate hardware back in the days. What kind of hardware did you have, Michiel, in the XP time?
Oh, let me think. What year was that? When was XP?
Because I think I think my CPU was like a AMD Athlon, some really basic Athlon from that time. I don't remember which type.
I think in that era, I think I had the Pentium 4, the Prescott one.
Pentium 4, guys, there you have it.
Yeah, the Prescott one, the 3 gigahertz version. So yeah, long time ago.
XP gang.
And I think with 256 or 512 megabytes of RAM, I think. And it was still on no PCI Express yet. I was running, let me think. I think a 9800 Pro, and I flashed that one to an XT. It was not AMD Radeon yet, it was still ATI Radeon.
I think I had like a GT 700 and no 7000 serial 700. Man, the struggles I had back in those days to game.
Yeah, and back in those times I had a lot of ATI cards.
Yeah, back in those days when ATI was kind of good in that department.
Yeah, but they were often unlockable. So you could unlock extra pipelines, for example. So for example, if you bought the cheaper model, you had 12 pipelines, but very often the disabled ones, they still worked. So you could, for example, enable another 4, so you had 16 pipelines in total. Shisher's asking, are you running the games through a laptop or a separate PC? A separate PC. Jazz currently running the Aegis Ti5 underneath the desk.
Yeah. Okay, so let me show you guys the settings first of all. Oh.
Yeah, let's increase that a bit.
Okay. Now, yes. As you can see here, 4K resolution, and then let me go to quality. Ultra. Now, I do have to confess, I am using a 11900K paired up with a RTX 3090, so I am enjoying the full benefits of the monstrous hardware of the Asus Ti5. That's why I am rocking Ultra, but also to show you guys, what kind of performance will we get. And so here, everything to Ultra, and then when we go to motion blur, it's off. Yeah, camera shake, I don't mind.
You don't mind
cool.
Camera shake?
No, it's okay. Sometimes I don't mind in this kind of games where the realism really kind of adds to the game.
For me, like camera shake and motion blur, both are a no-go. Poisoned and drunk effects, I can get them in real life.
How can you
so
not
I don't
like
need
that,
them in the
Mike?
game.
You drink beer like every day. Yeah, so DirectX ray tracing reflections for shadows also on, of course. Unfortunately, I can't use Fidelity cast because right now I'm using RTX 3090, so this is an AMD feature. Yeah, advanced here, VSync, turn it off, please. Frame lock, of course, I don't have frame lock. Field of view, if you like to have more field of view, turn this to higher, but do mind that the higher this number, the more performance impact it will also have on your FPS. So the more you see, the more frames it will actually have to render, the more work it has to do. So I keep this to a standard 75. I think that's more than enough for me at this point. If you like to artificially raise the sharpness even more, you can choose the resolution scale to even more. So basically this will 1.2, it's like 1.2 times of your current resolution, and if you put this like to 2, it basically means like twice the resolution. But basically, you're
this
playing
means
at
your GPU
8K.
will be rendering 8K.
Yeah,
So this will be crazy
crazy.
hard for your hardware.
But yeah, everything ultra, so ray tracing full on. What I'm getting at, so it's about 70 FPS from here on. But do mind you, Far Cry 6 is an insanely difficult game to render in the first place. But it also translates into the environment, how everything looks. You understand why it's such a heavy game to render, because
ray tracing enabled also makes it.
The Far Cry engine, you know, personally I've always been a fan of the Far Cry series, and their engines have always been something that I personally really liked, like together with Horizon Zero Dawn and the games like Cyberpunk. You know, I'm not a fan of that kind of graphics. This is more my cup of tea.
You're more of the tropical island kind of guy than the futuristic city kind of guy?
Maybe that too.
It's the holiday feeling, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so let me show you guys what it means to have smart crosshair. This, of course, I have to show you through the camera because it's in hardware acceleration, so it doesn't show up on the capture. So here, let me show you guys. Right now, there is
I think we need to reconnect.
Ah, shit. Restarting.
There we go.
There we go. So here you see in the middle there's like a blue crosshair. Now, if you don't like this crosshair, you can change this to like, let me show you. You don't have to use this necessarily. I'm just using this because I haven't set up the hotkeys yet. Otherwise, you can just use like a hotkey to change all the settings you would like. But let me just change it here because where is it? Smart crosshair icon here. You can choose all the different types of crosshairs. Oh, here. But for the sake of the demonstration, I'm just going to leave it to this one. So, smart crosshair, what does it mean? It will change color depending on where you're aiming at. So, if like right here, it's like dark blue. It will always make sure that there's like the right contrast between the crosshair color and the environment. This is to help you see and aim better in every situation. And this is especially important, in my opinion, in competitive games. Who is shooting me? That's rude. Where? Oh, a dog. I'm not for animal abuse, but...
A dog was shooting you?
No,
Wait,
he was
what?
biting me.
Oh, biting you.
I'm almost dead. But there's more dogs? Or what's going on? How have I... Oh. Okay, let's... let's restart that. Let me just stay where I am.
Oh, you pissed off, chat? Animal abuse?
Grizzly Eagle. I'm sorry, man. I told you I'm not for animal abuse, but that was self-defense. Can't blame me, right? Okay, we're back. So, as I was saying, this, in my opinion, is the most useful in AAA title games. Well, sorry, in competitive games, esports games, where really every little advantage, you should grab. As you can see, it really changes color in real time, so there isn't delay, which will basically defeat the whole purpose, right? So depending on where you are, it will always choose like the right contrast as to the background.
So it will always be properly visible. Can you look at the sky, for example? So it will never be blue when you're looking at the sky, for example?
Never. And pair this up with, in Far Cry, there's like a crosshair, but in some games when you like grab a sniper, there is no crosshair on your screen. So with the smart crosshair, you also make sure there's always a crosshair on your screen.
Also, when I switch to, for example, this capture where you don't see the crosshair, you see that you don't have the exact center point in the crosshair in the game, which you will have through this feature on the monitor itself.
So and this is especially important when you're like playing esports games where snipers generally never have crosshair, so you don't know where to pre-aim before you zoom in. And pair this up with the optic scope, you will have, so again, if you want to use the feature, you don't have to come here, you can just simply use a hotkey and that'll be it. So if I select on, what this does is that basically your optic scope, it literally is or does what it says. It scopes in where you don't have the capability or ability to do so with your current weapon, because it has nothing to do with your game. This is a monitor hardware accelerated overlay.
So this is also something you cannot see here.
So especially, you know, with maps where distance is usually a good or, you know, quite an annoying variable, this makes sure that whenever you need to zoom in extra, you can make sure that the hitbox is bigger because you're literally enlarging your hitbox. So you can imagine it's a lot easier to hit something that's this big than compared to in reality when it's only this big. Right? And again, in my opinion, in AAA title games, this kind of features, you know, is less important than when you like really love esports games, where competition is everything and you want to beat your opponents, you know, by all means necessary. And you can also adjust how big the magnification is and how big the entire frame actually is. So let me show you. If you go to here like frame scope size, you can choose small, medium or large. Usually I recommend to put this to small because then there's like less distraction, more focus. And then the scope 1.5x, 2x, 4x. Me personally, I love 1.5x. That's for me more than enough to, you know, get a fair share of advantage out of this and still maintaining a good awareness of the surrounding of outside of the scope. So yeah, really awesome, but you gotta try this out yourself to see how much you really like it. Okay. So the game itself, let me turn off the features. Okay. If you want to play in 4K, you know, Far Cry 6, one of the newest titles out there, also with one of the most impressive graphics. It's not the easiest game to render, but again, you know, everything is max, so if you want to have more frames, definitely try to play around with the settings. So if you like to keep the game's sharpness, you know, the details, you can try to lower the effects of other stuff that, you know, that don't change.
Can you maybe switch to medium settings and, for example, switch ray tracing off to see what kind of frame rate that would give you?
We sure can do. So about 30 FPS, which is about 50%.
Yeah, so quite a jump up.
So before we had like 60, max 70 FPS, and now we have like
around
close
100.
to, yeah, 90 and 100 plus FPS. And I must say, the game feels 1,000 times more smoother. When I move around my mouse, everything is a lot clearer and sharper, and easily to easily traced with your eyes. And yeah, basically when I look around, I don't really see big changes in the environment. I can't even tell that I have lowered the lower the effects. Can you guys tell?
Yeah, it will probably also depend on which scene you are. If you have a lot of water, for example, reflections, shadows, that's where you will usually see some differences.
So let's run away from here.
But it still looks really good, I think. in terms of visual quality.
And the game feels awesome. Whoop! Ah!
Oh, that hurt.
That was a very ugly front flip. But yeah, so guys, as you can see, you can keep the game's sharpness by keeping the 4K resolution. But if you play around with the effects, with the not details, but the textures, all the volumetric water, sky, ray tracing. There's tons of stuff that you can do to improve your FPS using the same hardware. So even if you're using a 4K monitor, you don't have to be afraid you need the highest of the highest hardware to be able to make full use of its capabilities. And this is done with the heaviest game, one of the heaviest games. So if I switch now to Formula 1, you're gonna see the difference between heaven and earth, between these two kind of different type of games. So the Formula 1 game is, I'm picking this one up because this is still fairly new, and this is going to be one of the representations for the esport, more the competitive type of games where frames is more important than the overall game quality. I'll say it doesn't mean the game looks bad, it looks awesome. So for this, I'm going to use our MSI controller.
Tian Venter is asking, what graphics card are you running now? This is an RTX 3090.
Any Formula 1 fans out there?
I am.
I think we all know that, Michiel.
Sticky UK 69, nice, I like that nickname. Why do you say FSR is only available on AMD cards, works fine on NVIDIA hardware? Yeah, FSR works on both. DLSS only works on NVIDIA, FSR works on both AMD and NVIDIA.
Let's go for...
the weekly event, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, you want to go there?
Of course. This weekend it's the race in Jeddah.
Main event is in 2 days, so I can only practice for now.
Ah, okay. Well, you can explore the new circuit a little bit.
Go to track, drive out.
Yubo Gaming is asking, what's the MSRP?
The MSRP is $700 or euros. And this is, from what I've seen, actually pretty much the retail price too. Because I looked up some stores to see, the actual price difference, and there's actually quite a minimum difference. Let me show you the settings. So, audio, graphics here. Let's just set to ultra high and then go back.
Rafael says FSR doesn't work on my R9 390. No, indeed, you need a fairly recent graphics card from either AMD or NVIDIA to be able to use FSR.
Let me see if ray tracing quality, let's do this to ultra high. So everything is on max to the max. Ooh, that's quite heavy.
Yeah, if you set everything to max, then even F1 can be.
But that's why, if I remember correctly,
you have DLSS in this one.
There is. Isn't there?
Yeah, there should be DLSS there.
Perhaps in video mode.
Yeah, there you have it.
Let's go to balanced.
That was a big FPS increase. Pretty much doubled.
Like it's nothing. So right off the bat, you guys already noticed like the biggest difference between like Far Cry 6, everything set to max with ray tracing on all the goodies. You had like only about 16 to 70 FPS, and with this game, whoa, you have the option to run it at 90 FPS.
Timon is asking, hey Mike, are you using the MSI CH120 gaming chair of Jazz or Chair Expert? Which one?
I'm sitting at the CH130.
I think this also is CH130, but in a different color, right?
Yeah, we have multiple options in the 130.
Yeah, you have the full black version.
Yeah, and if you want to have like the most comfortable 130, I definitely recommend you to check out the CH130X, which is pretty much the follow-up of our king-sized, the most comfortable and thickest padding CH110, which is actually what we started with, because we started with a bang, and that's what we also aimed at. Now, if you really want to make this interesting, this is what we're gonna do. Oh, go to medium, set this custom to high. Lighting's not that important. Shadow is just okay-ish.
So chat, for the F1 fans here, who will win the championship this year?
Remember,
I'm waiting for people to answer Msrp.
This is a Dutch office, so.
Still, my favorite driver is British, though. It's not Hamilton, but.
Really, it's not Hamilton?
No, I like Lando Norris.
Why is that?
Yeah, it's just not my type of person, I guess.
Oh my God! Look at that!
You lost the wheel.
There goes my wheel. But you know something else that happened. My FPS just went up. Well, it skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difference.
Saudi Arabia. If only you can drive there, for real. So let's check it out.
Damon says Verstappen for sure. Antoinette says Verstappen maybe. No, I think that Hamilton's gonna win. It's close. It's only 8 points. Simi's 86 says greatest of all time is Senna, case closed. Senna is definitely in contention for that title, I would say.
I am now playing at 230 FPS, and the quality is still pretty awesome. And of course, you can still decrease or increase the quality and just try to match the FPS to your monitor's refresh rate. That's fine. So you can enjoy even better FPS or image quality than that's currently presented. And tell me, is this not enough? Is this not good image quality? I honestly couldn't see that much difference at all between this and before, except for maybe the shadow being a little bit more choppy, but that's about it. With these kind of simple tweaks, I can already get up from like 80-90 FPS to 220 plus FPS, and that is the beauty of this kind of games.
You can tweak a lot with the settings, indeed.
So imagine if you're like playing Valorant, CS:GO, or Apex Legends, in this type of games. 200, 300 plus FPS is going to be really normal.
Yeah, the esports kind of titles. But here, of course, the ray tracing, especially if you don't use DLSS, that will give a huge has a huge impact on your frame rate.
Exactly. So, and not even not all games even have the ray tracing option. So, you still have the option to not use it if you prefer to have better FPS experience. And that is usually one of the biggest variables impacting your FPS. So yeah, it's not that hard to game on 4K nowadays, even with good image quality.
Depending on the game still.
Definitely.
And of course on your graphics card. Like this is a 3090. You will not get these frame rates on any graphics card. So you definitely, if you want to get most out of a screen like this, I would definitely suggest like go for at least a 3080 or an AMD side, an RX 6800 XT. That's like the range you should be looking for at least.
Versus Eagle is saying Resident Evil Village with 4K screen. That'll be awesome, you know. If you want to scare your ass off, go for it. Okay. So guys, if you have any questions, make sure to give them or any feedback that you have. Otherwise, you know, we're gonna tell you what's for next week. So next week, we're getting close to the magical Christmas date, of course. So we're gonna really get into the Christmas spirit and you know, give you guys all of the goodies and ideas regarding, you know, what kind of what kind of promotions we have running at the moment. You know, what kind of present ideas we can give you. There's tons of stuff for us to show, and you know, definitely try to treat yourself. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, fun kind of stream next week. Also, you know, not like the usual live stream where it's more information focused.
It's time for Christmas
because, you know,
decorations.
it's time for Christmas, right? So I'm not gonna promise, but I think the whole scene is gonna look
Mariah
different.
Carey on repeat in my car.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole different tone. So yeah, if you're interested, definitely try to tune in next week and. Check it out.
But before we're going to leave for today, I've got one more winner for Far Cry 6. And this is a viewer that I saw multiple times in the chat. Congratulations, GigaRam. You also won a game code for Far Cry 6.
Oh yeah, indeed. I saw GigaRam quite a few times in there.
So congratulations. I hope you enjoy it. So for all winners of today, keep an eye out on your mailbox. We will send you the codes with some instructions on how to redeem it in the coming days. If you didn't win this time, make sure to join again next week. I'm sure we'll have a new giveaway again in our very nice Christmas gift guide live stream.
Yeah, in the coming days I will email the code to you guys, so just check your inbox and yeah, you can enjoy Far Cry 6. And otherwise guys, thank you a lot for joining today. We hope you had fun and, you know, got quite sufficient information regarding the new monitor. Yeah, definitely try to stay safe and stay tuned. See you next time. Have a good day.
Goodbye.